My father's also here now.
Hi folks, Alex here. To close out our annual summer festivities, I thought it would be neat to put up this interview that I did with my dad during my last week in sunny Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. I wanted to talk to him about his love of games, both tabletop and video, and I feel like we covered some interesting stuff. It's kind of a departure for the show, but there are some No More Whopper staples in there, mostly Final Fantasy talk and train noises. There's some. Oh, that's right. It was recorded outside on the porch. I wanted some ambiance, some nice noise in the background. Unfortunately, there's also some construction noise that crops up intermittently and might kind of jar you. But please deal with it. Sorry about it. But please enjoy, and we will be back with regular episodes next Sunday. Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay. All right, please introduce yourself.
I'm Alex's dad.
That's it?
Well, I was trying to come up with something clever and funny and recognizable, like I'm Alex.
Yes.
But I couldn't. How could I top that?
Okay, that's fine.
So just I'm Alex's dad.
Okay. All right. Tell me about games.
Well, games are very important to me and always have been.
Why is that?
I think it's the intersection of the rules part and the luck part. One of my most vivid childhood memories is I was 6 or 7 and I got Monopoly for Christmas. Okay, and I used to love playing Monopoly with my cousins, even though I knew they were cheap.
Of course,
I knew they were cheap.
Yeah,
but what I discovered was when it was my Monopoly game, I could play by myself, and I could play as 2 or 3 different people.
and you would never lose. Well, I mean, you would always win.
And I would never cheat.
Oh, well, that's okay. Yeah.
And sometimes I would be the top hat, and sometimes I would be little Scotty, and it was really, really cool.
Mix it up.
I've always been most attracted to solitaire games, solo games. Which is probably why I've never, ever gotten into the massive multiplayer online things.
No.
It's just not my thing.
It's a lot of work.
When you mentioned the other day that you wanted to have a chat about this, I was thinking it over. And the second most important time in my gaming life was the 100th anniversary of the Civil War. And for whatever reason, Life magazine, I think it was Life, it could have been some other magazine.
Time.
No, it wouldn't have been Time.
No.
Us
Weekly.
No.
Okay.
No. It could have been Life. It could have been Look. It could have been Saturday Evening Post. But that's it.
Glamour. Okay.
No.
Okay.
They contracted with a company called Avalon Hill. More about them later.
Okay.
And they actually printed in the magazine the rules and the map and the counters to a Civil War game.
Wow.
And I was so taken by this. I cut them out, and I got cardboard, and I pasted them on cardboard, and I cut it.
Wow.
And I actually played the game 4 or 5 times. And at that point, I was kind of hooked on that kind of gaming. And I guess at heart, I am still a board gamer.
Yes.
And the video games that have really been the most addictive for me have really been video versions of board games, as
For example,
you will know. Panzer General, Allied General.
Iron Storm.
Yeah, but it's been so long since I played Iron Storm, I don't even remember the game.
You know where the Saturn is? It's in storage.
Is it working?
Probably. I think I saw cables there. Although I didn't see Iron Storm in there. So I don't know.
Well, you have Iron Storm. I saw it upstairs.
No, those are Sega CD games.
No, you had...
Iron Tank.
Iron Tank.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Iron Storm. It's all coming back.
Yeah.
Yes, excellent game. And you're never going to use all this stuff because it's long and boring. But
Sure.
The next big event was when I was in college.
Yeah.
And somebody, God knows who, had an Avalon Hill game called Jutland.
Jutland?
Now, Avalon Hill was for years and years and years far and away the number one and probably almost the only designer and manufacturer of really high quality, well thought out war games. Jutland was kind of an outlier because it was almost a miniatures game. It had very complicated rules, but you didn't play it on a board. You played it on the floor.
Ooh.
And you had little rulers, and you measured things, and it would tell you how fast the ships could turn, and how fast they could go.
Pretty good.
And we would spend many happy drunken weekends crawling around on the floor, trying to blow up each other's ships, and that kind of did it for me.
Now, when you say you had to play it on the floor, does that just mean you didn't have a big enough table, or you had to play it on the floor?
Oh no, you need a really big table, and we're talking about a dorm room, so.
Oh. No, wait. How does this relate to the World War II tabletop games that you used to play on Alexander Drive?
Very similar.
Okay.
In fact, I still have a number of those. The problem with those is once one gets married and has a family, two things happen. Because these games typically can't be played in one sitting. So you play for a couple of hours, you leave it for the next day, and then you leave it for a couple of days. Well, when you get married, the first thing that happens is you hear, "You're going to leave that here? Clean that up."
Okay.
And even if you get past that, "Oh, honey, please, I'm right in the middle of the game. I'll clean it up tomorrow. I'll clean it up over the weekend." Even if you get past that, then you have little people say, "Oh, Daddy, what's this?" Well, and nobody has a table that's high enough and big enough out of kids' little hands way to really leave a game out for like 3 or 4 days or a week or 10 days.
No.
And so you kind of fall away from it. But I've still got, in the storage unit, Africa Corps, I got Stalingrad, I've got some of the real classics, 1914.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you...
Wow, the Great War.
The Great War. Which, in a way, is a dreadful game.
Yeah.
Because it was a very static kind of a war. So it really doesn't lend itself to that kind of gaming experience. But it just, there's something about, and that's what you young'uns have lost with video games.
What's that?
There is something about the leisurely way that you have to set the game up and think about where you place the pieces and who you're going to move first. And the whole turn-based system gives you the opportunity to really think things through. That for most video games, even the ones I like, you don't have anymore. Which is why I was so attracted to Panzer General and Allied General for PS1, because they were turn-based. You kind of moved everything where you wanted to move it, and then you hit the button, and they really moved, and they fought battles, and it was actually kind of cool.
Are you saying that because you no longer have to set up everything individually, like it lost a part of that magic?
Yeah.
Okay. Because all that is done automatically, obviously, if you're playing a video game.
Even the rolling of the dice, because for the most part, combat is... oh, there's the trolley.
There's the trolley. Hi, trolley.
Bye, trolley. Because combat gets resolved by rolling dice with the results affected by defense factor and offense factor. And that is all invisible in today's game.
Yeah, you got random number generators.
Yeah. All invisible. And while it's certainly quicker, and there are things about today's games that are much better. For example, there were a number of systems for hidden movement when you were playing a board game to simulate the fog of war. None of them really worked.
No.
The most workable ones required you to have 2 separate games.
What? In
2 separate rooms, and a third person who would go back and... It was just crazy.
Yeah. And you didn't want to mess with that?
Oh, heck no.
No.
Heck no. Now, we were an early adopter video game family because I was always a game guy.
Yeah.
We had the Odyssey game system when we lived in Venezuela.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't there for that.
No. You missed that whole experience. we were one of the few people who bought a Coleco Atom computer, which was the worst piece of crap you've ever seen in your life. Never worked.
Oh.
There was never any software for it, but I blew like $500 on it, and because I thought, this is really going to change gaming.
This is the future.
This is the future.
But it doesn't work.
But the future, it was premature.
Yeah.
But you do remember a lot of the games I used to play when you were small.
Oh, the trolley game.
That's a good game. Games like Fantasy Star, I used to love playing Fantasy Star.
Of course.
But of course, as you well remember, the one I got addicted to, and it's a totally different kind of game. It's the only game like this that I've ever really connected to, and that's Doom.
Oh, yeah.
I would come home from work and I would play Doom for hours.
I remember you had Doom installed on your work laptop.
Yeah.
And you were very excited. I think Chris was playing it in the den, I think. And then, yeah, we sat around enjoying Doom. Because, yeah, that was a pretty revolutionary thing.
Yes, it was.
Especially for me, who had never played anything really on a PC. And I had this distinction between PCs and actual consoles like the NES, where, the NES, that was a video game. Anything on a PC was not a video game.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's Doom, and it's like, oh wow, this thing can do games too. And it looks a hell of a lot better than anything on my NES.
On the other hand, the controllability was always better with a game system, at least in my judgment.
Especially Doom on the 32X.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely, positively. So what are your earliest memories of our gaming interaction?
Okay, well, I can remember not February, because your birthday's in June. I can remember a June in the early 90s where, this isn't the first interaction, but it is the one that I remember the most. Chris and Jenny and Lily and I had all bought you Dragon Warrior 2 for your birthday, and I was excited. Obviously, I'm excited to give such a wonderful gift, but the majority of my excitement was...
And you didn't really know how wonderful it was yet.
No, I didn't. The majority of my excitement was anticipating playing it myself when you were at work.
That is so Alex.
I do remember playing Dragon Warrior and Phantasy Star barely. I remember I didn't really have a hang on RPGs at that point because I think I accidentally saved over Chris's Phantasy Star game and he punched me because everybody was maxed out. It was like at the end of the game. And I rented Final Fantasy, but I think I was alone on that one. I think I asked you to help me put in Game Genie codes so that I could get infinity money as I read it in the code book. It was to be clear, it was spelled correctly. I just thought it was pronounced infinity money.
And I probably told you, Alex, that's cheating.
Yeah, it is cheating. But in my defense, that was a rental. The first time I played that game was a rental. I only had a few days. There's no way I could beat that, even with infinity money.
That's true.
But yeah, Dragon Warrior was fun. Dragon Warrior 2. And then I think you were out of it by 3. You were going solely with Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Shingen the Ruler, and those kinds of micromanage.
And along the way, I picked up, because I'm still a board game guy, but they don't make them anymore.
No, I bet if you search online, I bet somebody still makes them and you can buy them somewhere.
I picked up 2 games at a store in New York City. It was in one of the lower levels of Rockefeller Center. It was called the Complete Strategist. Compleat. Complete Strategist.
Okay.
And they were almost exclusively board games, but they had a wonderful selection. I bought 2 games there that I spent many happy hours with. One was, of all things, a Major League Baseball game.
Wow. How did that work?
I forget.
Is it like the kids' games where it's like a plastic field and you put a quarter in the thing and you pull the spring
No.
back?
This was cards and dice, and you set the lineup, and it was a really, really interesting game if you like baseball. The second game was a war game called Ambush that was designed from the get-go to be a solitaire game.
Oh.
And it was an excellent solitaire game. I think I have that one in the storage unit as well. The difficulty is every time I bring those things out, while the little fingers are gone, the cry of, "You're not going to leave that there over the weekend, are you?"
Yeah.
Still comes loud and clear.
Okay, I got it. What if you set up a table in the storage unit You didn't tell Mom, and you're like, oh, I think we're out of milk. I gotta go get some milk. And you go for 3 or 4 hours. You come back.
Yeah, I could do that. My copy of Panzer General somehow disappeared, and I've got a copy of Allied General someplace, but it doesn't work.
I bet you could find those on eBay. I don't know for sure.
Well, wouldn't that be a nice gift for someone to give?
That would be a fan. Do you have a PlayStation?
I don't know.
You got a PS2? There's a Japanese PS2 in the storage unit. That's not going to do you much good.
I don't know.
You know what? I bet you could pick up a cheap PlayStation now, too. Or PS2.
So, I know that you are no longer on the cutting edge of gameplay.
No, not really.
Because I've heard that on your podcast, No More Whoppers.
I've heard it's a fabulous show.
Oh, it's great.
Let's ask the trolley.
But I also know the kind of games that attract you are games like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, not so much recently, but yeah.
Okay.
Everything after 12, I'm not so on board on.
One of the versions, and I can't remember which because there have been so many and it's been so long for me. One of the versions I really got into, and I don't know if I played the whole game, but I played most of the game. And then the new one came out.
Oh, that was Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2.
Okay, well,
right? I think
whatever the new one was, there was something. There was one of the quests early in the game that I just couldn't get over, and it's kind of one of the reasons why I never got into Call of Duty.
Wait, do you mean it was too difficult or was too weird?
No. And as we get older, the hand-eye coordination isn't what it was. But we got Call of Duty for your nephew, Josh, who is also a podcast listener. Josh, you listen to this?
I'm hit.
No, you're a hit.
Oh, that's right.
And there was one of the first missions, or the first mission, where I couldn't get the last machine gun. No matter what I did.
Wait a minute. Oh, you're Call of Duty, not Final Fantasy now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't get the last machine gun, and nothing is more frustrating than that. You go through the same mission 10 times and you can't do it, and you know what? You turn on the ball game and get yourself a beer and just sit down.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that... Hang on. I want to get to the root of this Final Fantasy thing. What was the one... I think you played... You finished 6 on the Super Nintendo, which was Final Fantasy 3 in America. And that was a very traditional 2D game. And then did you play... Maybe you tried Final Fantasy 7 and it was too weird? Because that was quite a jump.
No, so the Final Fantasy I really got into, they were in a world that, to me, looked like Bangkok when I was there. Little tiny dark streets, pipes overhead.
That sounds like 7.
Okay, I don't remember.
But I remember you enjoyed 10. It had Titus, the blitzball player.
Yes!
There you go.
That's the one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that had a whole bunch of different locales.
Yes, it did. And I really enjoyed that. And because of that, you bought me the next one. You bought me the next one with the book and the strategy guide. And there was something very early in the game I just couldn't get past.
Was it having to play dress up to change your job abilities? Because that was the big criticism is the game. It's very girl powery. But if you can look past girl power, it's very fun. But there is a lot of dress up, a lot of playing dress up.
Well, I'm comfortable with my feminine side. I mean, I'm a manly man, but still.
I thought it was a fun game.
I don't remember the details.
Okay.
I gotta be honest with you.
I think you would like FF12. It's like a 3-party thing, and you control the one guy, and then you can set up like a system of automatic commands called gambits to tell your other 2 people what to do.
Okay.
And then you can just go into battle and they'll do that stuff. Anyway.
Well, that makes sense.
It's fun. I don't remember we also got you Phantasy Star 2, I think under the same pretense as Dragon Warrior 2. I really want to play it.
Yeah. Oh, here's a gift for Dad. Can I play it, Dad?
Well, we occasionally played together. It was fun.
Now, when we were going through your old papers the other day, we found some dungeon maps.
Ooh, that's right.
What were they from?
Those are... Yeah, we were in the storage unit. We found a red binder full of my old Phantasy Star maps. Those are the maps that I used for the Crunk Games Phantasy Star walkthrough.
Oh, so...
Those are all online. I scanned them at Matt's house in the summer of 2003.
Okay. You did those at a later point in time as an adult.
Yes.
Okay. As a scholarly exercise.
Yes.
Okay. And that's another thing. Is anybody writing the cultural history of the social impact of video games?
Absolutely.
And RPGs in particular, and how they've changed over the years and what that means?
I'm sure somebody has written something to that effect. It's a pretty specific thing. I guarantee somebody's written about that. There's a lot of stuff about games and how they've affected society and other things, etc. And such as I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, nothing new there. That's okay.
Okay, hey.
But again, my favorite games are the classic Avalon Hill games, and if you Google Avalon Hill, you will find a lot of information about it.
I remember you had a game that was always set up on a table upstairs called RAF. Was that it?
How do you spell that?
RAF.
Oh, RAF, Royal Air Force. Sorry.
Yes.
Excellent game. Another Avalon Hill.
That was Avalon Hill too.
Excellent game. In fact, I hate to say this. I just threw that out a couple of months ago because I had lost so many of the pieces.
Oh yeah.
That it was foolish to keep it around for nostalgia anymore. When every single thing I own practically had to go into a storage unit.
Yeah.
Excellent game and a good example of how they could do games other than hexagon movement and fire games.
It wasn't just hexagons?
Oh, there were no hexagons.
Oh, octagons?
No octagons. It was kind of area movement. It was all about when do you stage the fighters to meet the bombers, and it was also card based.
Oh lordy!
In that the targets and the attacking force was kind of random, determined by the card. So not knowing what was coming, you had to put fighters in the air in order to meet the attack. You got some intelligence because you had radar, but sometimes it was good and sometimes
Seems
it
very
wasn't.
complicated.
Actually, it wasn't. It was delightfully simple and easy to play.
Oh.
Some games are too complicated. I don't like those.
Oh. What about? I seem to recall that you once played. What was it? I think it was a trolley-based game. You played a game against yourself. It wasn't Monopoly. I want to say. It's one of the Rule the World games.
Oh, Risk.
That's the. Oh, gee, how could I not pull Risk? Yeah.
Absolutely. That game's almost too simple.
Yeah.
But fun. I do remember when your mother and I first got married.
Yeah.
And I was in college and she was working. And more than once, I would have a day off and I would stay home and I would play Risk against myself all day long, cook some pasta, have a great lunch, and then she'd come home and we'd have dinner.
Pretty good?
Life was good, baby, let me tell you.
Did you ever make Gabagool?
Not Gabagool.
Okay. Yeah, Risk is pretty... Risk is fun.
Risky.
But simple.
I have found an online version.
Oh, yeah, that's popular on the Facebook.
Yeah. It isn't Risk, it's something else. I've tried finding free online games that really get my attention, and every once in a while I will find one.
Okay.
But for the most part, they stink.
All right, yeah, I've noticed that. Okay, is there anything left to say about games?
Oh man, there's so much to say about games. I should buy the Avalon Hill trademark and bring out more board games.
It's not a bad idea.
Well, except that the reason they kind of went out of business is because people stopped buying board games. So there is that.
Have you been to that hobby shop we keep passing?
No.
Do you think they would have something like that?
Possible.
I know they have Brio, because that's in the window.
Yeah, possible. I bet you the Complete Strategist is still in Rockefeller Center.
The Complete
Strategist. Of course, I'll be honest, the last time I was there was way over 10 years ago.
Ah.
But a store like that, if it's the only store like it in Manhattan, in a high-traffic area, can last a long time on a very small user base.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for all you know, Alec Baldwin went there.
It's possible.
Yeah. Tina Fey.
Possible. She likes Avian Hill. Avalon Hill. All right. Well,
In fact, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to Google Avalon Hill. Haven't done that in a while. See what's going on.
that's a good idea. Are there any games that you're playing now?
While I was waiting for you to finish your downloads, so we could have our chat here, I was playing a game called Clue Sweeper.
Clue Sweeper.
Now, we've all heard of Minesweeper.
Yes.
It's kind of a time killer. But it's fun.
Okay.
Clue Sweeper adapts that game system to solving crimes.
How does that work?
Oh, you got to try it for yourself.
All right.
Just Google Clue Sweeper.
Google Clue Sweeper.
It's on a game site called Congregate. Congregate with a K.
Oh, yeah, that's a popular one.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys don't have any consoles hooked up here, do you?
No.
Because did Lily take the PlayStation?
I don't know.
Because it ain't here.
For the longest time, when we got a Wii,
Yeah.
I was playing a lot of Wii golf and Wii tennis, and then for some reason, I don't know, I just stopped.
Well, you're in the midst of a stressful move.
Oh no, this was long before that.
Oh.
But for like a year and a half, I was big into the Wii golf and Wii tennis and Wii bowling.
Oh, I love Wii Bowling.
Oh,
Now, is your Wii in storage, or did Mom give it to someone?
I think it's a story.
I only asked because I think when I was in high school, or just after high school, Mom decided to give away my Super Nintendo to valued listener Josh, and I got it from the storage unit.
Well, he's your nephew.
I know, it's not his fault. It's Mom's. Oh, Alex isn't here. That means he doesn't need this. No, I do need it. But it's got a puncture hole in the side, which I think was my fault. That's not Josh's. And I think I didn't try cleaning it, and it might be too dusty, and it didn't work.
Okay, I think we need to take a break now, so let's have a strategic drop right now.
Clooney Tunes!
I'm Alex's dad.
I'm Alex. How's it going?
It's going fine. So, the word on the street is that you are on your way out to San Francisco to see that young scoundrel Ray Barhold.
That's right. I fear for my safety.
How's that going to work?
That'll be fun.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, probably eat a lot of Mexican. It's California.
Is there a San Francisco cuisine?
Not that I know of. I mean, there probably is, and it's probably insane. It's probably some weird kind of fusion that doesn't have gluten or food in it. I don't know.
Well, that makes sense. I'm sure it's environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
So what else do we have to talk about in the game world?
I didn't have much left in terms of gaming stuff, but I wanted to ask you about some of your early experiences.
Well, Alex, I'm just...
At work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I remembered you came to Japan.
Oh, are these the funny, embarrassing things I told you about?
Yes, they're awesome.
Okay.
I remembered you came to Japan a few years ago, and you told me a story that eerily mirrored one of mine from work.
Had I been drinking?
Well, yes, we both have.
Okay.
I told you that at work one day a button had come off of my dress shirt, so I very quietly went into the teacher's room and stapled it back together. And then you...
And I thought that was pretty smart.
Yes, and you regaled me with the story of your own.
Well, this was, oh my God, this was in the early 1970s. So this was about 40 years ago.
Okay.
And I had a really nice blue summer weight suit.
Sounds pretty good.
That was one of my favorites. The only problem was I dropped something on the floor one day. I bent over and I split the pants.
That's classic.
All the way up the back.
Wow.
And it was early in the day. And I had to work all day long, and then I had to ride the train home, and I couldn't do that with my tighty whities hanging out the back.
Nope.
So I thought to myself, Self, what are you going to do? So I went to my desk, and I got my stapler, and I went to the men's room, and I performed the indicated operation of stapling the seam in my pants closed. Now, that's just common sense. And,
of course.
And that's not oh, gee, that's a strange guy kind of a twist to the story. The twist to the story has nothing to do with the trolley that's coming.
Okay, I hope not.
The twist to the story is that I wore the suit that way for about 2 years until I finally threw it away. Sent it to the cleaners, came back from the cleaners, everything was
It came
great.
back from the cleaners with the staples still inserted.
Oh, yeah.
And Mom never said anything.
Well, how would she know?
I don't know. She saw the suit hanging in the closet one day, thought, what the hell is this?
She didn't spend a lot of time inspecting the seams of my clothes.
Okay.
And I just it worked fine. And finally, the suit got old, and I threw it away.
Wow. Okay. See, I had a wardrobe malfunction a few years ago that I didn't know how to handle because it wasn't suit related. It was my shoes. I had 2 dress shoes that I had to wear for work, and there were these black shoes, really nice. And I guess I wore them for so long that the heel came off of one of them, and I didn't know how to fix that. I don't cobble.
I got 2 words for you.
What's that?
Duct tape.
That's what I should have done.
I went through 3 years of college with the sole of one of my shoes just duct tape wrapped around it, worked a charm.
Okay.
And every once in a while you would have to refresh the duct tape.
Of course.
But it was great.
Well, I didn't have such an elegant solution. So what I did was, I noticed that when I walked through the train station, my one heel with the heel missing would slip on the surface because it was like a shined wood on the bottom of the heel, or under the heel. And to stop from slipping, it was on my right foot. I would start to walk with my left foot on the ground and my right foot on the little strips, the bumps for the blind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
sure.
yeah.
Did people start grabbing your elbow to help you find things?
No. I shook them off before anyone said anything. But yeah, that was I had to walk up to the platform at following the right angle of that bumpy strip, as if I was using it. I'm sure I looked silly.
Well, you could have hopped.
I don't want to look too silly.
Well, everybody thinks you're crazy anyway because you're not Japanese, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You're the big weird guy.
Yes. Hi, I have a big nose. Apparently.
Well, no, it's not that big.
No, but that's one of the stereotypes.
I know. Now the other story I know you want me to tell, and this is a function of I was really young when this happened. I was way younger than you. It was my first job, my first full-time job. I dropped my glasses, and one of the lenses broke. Well, at that time, I really only needed corrective lenses in one eye.
Okay.
And the one that broke was the non-corrective one.
So you figured, hey.
I figured, hey, what's the big deal? I don't need this lens. I can see absolutely fine.
You just popped it right out.
Popped it right out, put the glasses back on. I'm doing my job for a couple of days, no problem. And my boss, who was a kindly older gentleman who was much, much younger than I am now, who was a kindly older gentleman, took me aside and said, there's something wrong with your glasses. And I said, oh, well, I dropped them and the lens broke, but I don't need that lens, so it's fine. He said, I don't know how to tell you this, but people are going to think you're strange. And I guess that's where you guys.
That's pretty good. Yep.
I'm thinking.
That's great.
And so I took his advice and I got a new pair of glasses.
Before people started calling you Cyclops.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I guess I could have gotten an eye patch. And
that would have been pretty cool.
Well, it's been absolutely fabulous having this chat.
Thank you for having me.
I think your podcast is great.
Thanks.
I am a couple of weeks behind because I've been listening to baseball instead of your podcast.
That's right.
And I apologize for that. But now that I can listen in the car,
that's right,
courtesy of your skill and your intelligence, I will catch up, and I really look forward to seeing what comes next.
Me too. I got nothing.
I got nothing either.
All right, so we're done. Thanks very much. Bye. Hang on. How do you work this thing?
That is so Alex.